What's up, heathens? How y'all doing? Tonight we have a Halloween conspiracy by A Call for an Uprising. If you didn't know, A Call for an Uprising is a crazy conspiracy theorist that is incredibly huge here on YouTube for reasons that I don't even understand, but he's huge. He's got nearly 500,000 subscribers over on his main channel, and it's all because he pushes these really weird, crazy conspiracy theories. So, today we're going to find out why Halloween should be avoided like the plague, and it's definitely because of Jesus and ghosts and demons and apparently sacrifices. I don't know if you guys know this, but apparently people do sacrifices on Halloween and shit. It was news to me when he told me. So anyways, we're going to get to that, but first we have the intro and shit, and y'all stay tuned. So, tonight we are going to be looking at A Call for an Uprising. Now, I had to do a little bit of research for this video. Not much. Basically just having to look up the nuggets of truth that they use in order to generate their crazy fucking ideas. And A Call for an Uprising is not really going to present any kind of new way to go about this conspiracy. It's pretty much just going to be the same way that he does it every single time. He pretty much relies on Satanists and Aleister Crowley and all this other stuff, and then he extrapolates from that and creates a whole conspiracy out of fucking nothing. So, if you're if that's what you're expecting, then you're going to be happy. If you're expecting something with more depth, it's not there. But in any case, we're going to see what he thinks about Halloween and everything about the Halloween conspiracy, which apparently he's going to be doing a more in-depth version of it soon or something like that. I'm not sure.
This is A Call for an Uprising. Welcome to today's show. As most of you who follow the channel know, I try to point out these satanic ritual dates on the satanic calendar. I do it just because it's important for spiritual warfare to know what's going on. I've always felt that way, at least. I understand some people say, well, why do we need to know? Well, you don't necessarily.
You know, I always like the spiritual warfare shit that they talk about, because I always imagine Jesus with a fucking ammo belt on and like a saw or something, or I don't know, just some kind of machine gun, and he's like putting Holy Spirit bullets into his gun, and he's like, forward, man, forward! And he's attacking Satan and shit, although you do have to admit, in the Bible, Jesus supposedly defeats Satan and death and all this other stuff at the end when he dies and he's resurrected and everything like that. I mean, that's just that's part of the theology or whatnot that eventually developed, at least. That was the whole point in Jesus. He's an antichrist, I guess. He's an anti-Satan character, is what Jesus is. But I like the whole spiritual warfare kind of visual, and I would really love to see like just a spiritual warfare like movie where it's literally God fighting on the battlefields against demons and shit. Like, that would be an awesome fucking show or movie, I think.
Necessarily need to know. If you're not interested, obviously don't listen to the video. I'm not trying to create fear and paranoia by saying this is what goes on during these dates, but people should be aware because a lot of abductions occur. A lot of animals go missing. This is stuff that...
Okay, sorry to stop this so much, but just to reassure you, there's no spike in animal like abductions or anything like that around this time now. There are some like shelters and stuff that do have policies in place that talk about how they're not gonna, adopt out black cats for the Halloween season. Some of them have the misconception that it's because of like sacrifices and stuff. Like, they are worried about sacrifices, about cats being sacrificed and everything like that. But there's no real information to support that. There's anecdotal like stories and shit that always circulate around on the internet about it, but there's no actual substance behind the particular claim. So the real reason why a lot of like animal shelters and stuff will taper their like cat, at least their cat adoption stuff like around Halloween, is because very shittily people will use cats as like living decorations. and shit. And then as soon as the Halloween season's over, they fucking kick them to the curb and they get rid of them because they didn't really want a cat. They wanted a decoration, and they were assholes and thought, oh, hey, we'll just get a living black cat and fuck, that'll be awesome. And so, I mean, they do like try to restrict that around the Halloween season because they don't want cats being like just thrown out to the curb. But it's not because of animal sacrifices. People aren't going out and like stealing cats and dogs and all this other stuff because they want to sacrifice them or use them in some kind of nefarious way. I have links in the description if you guys want to go and check out all of the information surrounding it. But it's just pretty. I mean, it's false. It's a legend.
Actually does go on. It's been going on for hundreds of years in this time period because these are significant dates for the Satanists. This is when the veil is at its thinnest. This is when offerings are given to Satan, specifically during this period of time, which starts October 13th and runs to the 31st, which is Samhain, Halloween night.
Now, any pagans or anything like that, like in the comments or in the live stream right now, that wants to correct me on this, but I'm fairly certain that the Halloween, the celebration of Samhain, is how it's pronounced. Samhain, not Samhain. But Samhain is when the veil is at its thinnest and spirits can cross over and everything like that. And if memory serves, the reason why like masks are adorned and everything like that is actually to scare off spirits and not like worship them or incite them. So it's very odd how he does this. Oh, another thing that he said earlier is that he's not like doing this in order to incite panic or cause like hysteria or something like that. It's like that's exactly what you're trying to do. Incite hysteria and try to get people to like be all stressed out and everything like that. So it's just it's very odd that he thinks that he's not causing this, or he thinks that he's not trying to do this. It's very weird.
All we truly need in this spiritual warfare is God, is the scriptures, is prayer. But during these specific dates, it's important to make sure you are in prayer and you're aware that spiritual warfare is running rampant, and that if you have
Now listen, the only way that you can combat the evil spirits on Halloween is by sucking that Jesus stick. Everybody knows that if you're caught walking around sucking Jesus stick, no demons are going to fuck with you, okay? Now, it's very important to get the Holy Ghost smeared all over you once you finish Jesus off. That's how you continue to chase off the demons after you get done sucking the Jesus stick. So, in short, the only real way to defeat a demon is to suck off another ghost and get his holy juices all over you so that you can protect yourself from being, inhabited by the demons through your butthole. That's the entrance. It's the butthole. The butt demon. Whoop! Right there in the butt. No, honey, a cork will not work. You got to plug it with Jesus. You plug it with Jesus. That's how you do it. Anyways. Oh, a baby Jesus butt plug? Oh, a baby Jesus butt plug might work. I don't know though. I'm not exactly sure. I'll have to check with the big man up there after I finish sucking him off tonight. Ask him about the baby Jesus butt plug. That might be a good enough cork to keep the demons out your asshole. So everybody go ahead, put that in your cart on adamandeve.com, baby Jesus butt plug. Use code BROCEPHUS. That's not a real code, by the way. I'm just saying. Anyways. 69% off, woman. Oh, yes, we do. Super chats. Wait. So we got Uhan Roderick that said, take that glorious holy load all over your face. And I have to agree. Definitely take it all over. And then we got Not Joe Witness. He became a mafioso. Well, I guess he continued his mafioso-ship. No, my viewer activity isn't loading up on my thing. Hold on.
So I believe that was Uhan that said Bursifus 2020. Thank you, Stewie. I appreciate the super chat. Oh, it does that when you change tiers. Okay. Cool. All right. So let's continue with this shit.
Animals and stuff like that, you should definitely keep an eye on them. The myth of a cat getting abducted on, All Hallows Eve or on Halloween, it's not a myth. Okay, stuff like this doesn't just become a myth. Oh, did you hear the cat got killed? It's been going on since witches have been here. So you could date it back as far as you want to date it. So this period, which starts the 13th, as you know, with Aleister Crowley and the law of reversals, 13th is 31 backwards. On the 13th, they begin their preparation for All Hallows Eve and Samhain. This is like an abduction period. They hold ceremonial preparations for sacrifices and human sacrifices during this time period, which leads up to October 28th and 30th, which is, this when they start doing their blood rituals, their human sacrifices each day. It could be a male or a female. And then October 30th and 31st, which is All Hallows Eve and Halloween night. That's where they perform sexual orgies, sexual climax. They summon all sorts of demons. There's animal and human sacrifice that occurs. And it's when the veil during this period is at its thinnest.
Okay, that was a lot of crazy. No, there's no human sacrifices that happen at this time. I mean, it's just ridiculous to even say. I mean, I get it that you want to assume that they are doing human sacrifices, but you have to understand, this is coming from the guy who thought that Jim Parsons and Aleister Crowley opened up a portal to Babylon and called forth the Babylon Queen in Area 51. When in reality, all they did was L. Ron Hubbard watch Jim Parsons masturbate on some rocks. He came all over the rocks. He did that 3 times, all while L. Ron Hubbard watched. That was all. But he wants to act like from October 13th to the 31st, because of magical number shit, human sacrifices and everything's going on, and then they fuck each other so hard they call forth demons. Now, I don't know if you guys have ever fucked so hard you've called forth a demon. Sometimes that happens to me. KC would know. But in any case, no real demons are being called forth in this. Probably Aleister Crowley had some orgies or something like that was going on Halloween. They were pretty fucking crazy. Aleister Crowley, Jim Parsons, all these other fucking people. They had occult. They were fascinated with the occult. They did all these kind of weird, fucked up rituals and shit. But you have to understand, none of this is actually real. The magic and shit isn't real. They probably got together and fucked each other for hours, probably. But you seem to like to focus on the fucking part of this entire endeavor, because you focused on it with Area 51. You're focusing on it now with Halloween. It's like they sacrifice all these males and females, and then they fuck each other right there using the blood as lubricant. And it's just so funny to hear this fuck talk about this shit.
That means is that it's easier for them, their spells are stronger during this period because it's easier for them to summon demons from the other side for their black magic rituals and all this disgusting, embarrassing stuff that these Satanists partake in. So it's important during this time period to stay strong in your prayers. It's important during this time period to just keep an eye on your pets. Okay. And I know people go, oh, that's ridiculous. It's over the top. Listen, if you go down, I don't know where, anybody out there lives, but if I go into my town or a town, and I do, when I do leave the house, I see signs all the time, especially during ritual seasons, of missing dogs, okay, they're just missing. They were in someone's backyard, caged in, and then the dog goes missing. The dog didn't jump over the fence and run away. Okay, people aren't kidnapping the dog because they said, did you see that dog next door? What a beautiful dog. We should take the dog and keep the dog for ourselves. These animals are taken for sacrifice rituals. That's what they're taken for. People aren't stealing other people's pets and then selling them on the black market. That's not how it's working here.
Okay, so let's lay out our competing hypotheses for the missing dogs. Okay, we'll get to something else here in a second, but so the competing hypotheses right now is dogs jumping over a fence and escaping, which has been known to happen. Forgetfulness of the owner, leaving a gate open, letting the dog, run away or something like that. Random strangers looking to steal dogs for their own uses, whether that be just to have a dog or otherwise, or they're stealing them to do occult animal sacrifices to their dark lord so that they can call forth demons into reality when the veil is at its thinnest. And then let's go back, okay? Because every time this fucker leaves his house, which I'm guessing is about 3 times a year, every time he leaves his house, he sees posters up of lost dogs and everything like that. Lost cats, whatever the fuck. You ever been, hunting for, a car to buy? And it's like you really want this one particular car, and then you just see that car every fucking where, right? There's 10 people on your block that you didn't notice before that had that very fucking car. They got a Toyota Camry. You want a Toyota Camry, and it's like, oh fuck, why can I only see Toyota Camrys? And it's like, I don't personally want a Camry. I was just pulling a car out of my ass. But it's just, you notice them more because you're looking for them. Okay, that's it. That's all. But he wants to be like, oh, they're definitely stealing them so they can sacrifice them to the darker lords when they kill the dogs, they drain it of all its blood, and then they fuck each other on the carcass using the blood for lubricant and shit. And it's like, the fuck is wrong with you? What makes you think these things?
Okay, that's just not what's going on. But they want you to think that stuff happens. But they don't bring attention to abductions and kidnapping of animals. And they certainly don't bring much attention to the kidnapping and abduction of children, which is just ridiculous that is something in an election period. Like right now, they don't talk about how many kids are going missing and how the child sex trafficking industry makes over $32 billion annually. I mean,
oh, nobody is talking about this. It's not being run every single night on the fucking news or anything, but people know about this. And there are statistics out there that you can go to that show how every 40 seconds a child goes missing. Hell, he wants to say that they're not talking about this or that they're not reporting on this. There's an entire system that is worked into every cellular phone for when a child goes missing. If a child goes missing for even a few hours, you get an Amber Alert. I got an Amber Alert on my phone the other day because a kid missed a school bus and nobody knew where he was. Didn't know. Or he missed a stop. He was on a school bus. He missed a stop and got off somewhere else. And there was an Amber Alert issued for him. So we are aware of the issue. There are a lot of processes and technologies in place for when a child does go missing. It's not like children just go missing whenever and nobody reports on it or anything like that. You get a personal notification on your fucking phone if a child goes missing. And there's no spike around Halloween. That's the important part. Like I said before, about every 40 seconds a child goes missing. And that's a horrible thing to, realize. But there's no noticeable spike around Halloween or anything like that. So what he's saying here is just blatantly false, but that's a call for an uprising. That's his shtick, is that he makes these bold, big claims that are not actually evidenced in reality. They're just lies.
It's a ridiculous amount of money. It's almost as much as drug trade. And you don't hear anybody talk about it. All you're talking about is Donald Trump talking about another woman's private parts and Hillary Clinton's set up faked leaked emails, which is all part of this plan, this staged event. Her emails wouldn't leak unless they wanted to. So all this stuff is what people focus on. They think the rest of this stuff is, not important or fictional. In reality, this is the stuff that's going on. Children are being abducted, and they're being abducted not because people want other people's kids so that they can, they couldn't have a kid on their own, so they want to abduct someone else's. And despite what they'll tell you, okay, because I know when they bring up child abduction, they say, well, they're abducting children, then they're sending them to third world countries so they could do slave labor. That's the illusion they want to create, because they don't want to mention that they're abducting them for sexual rituals and satanic rituals. What else are they going to say?
Okay, I'm not, I promise I'm not laughing over the fact that children do get abducted and that there is like, human trafficking, even child sex trafficking is is a terrible problem that still happens today. And I mean, I really wish that we could make it all stop, but I really don't know if we're ever going to be able to make it, stop. I mean, like I said, it's a huge issue. It is, but it's very dangerous and downright downright irresponsible of a call for an uprising to be like, nah, they want to tell you that it's because they're being kidnapped so that they can be sold as sex slaves. But no, they're really being abducted to take part in these satanic rituals that's happening all over the place, and all this other stuff. Like, that's just fucking irresponsible to put out there. You have a channel, nearly 500,000 subscribers on it. You're telling them that people are sacrificing children on Halloween for these satanic sacrifices and satanic rituals and everything like that. And then they're going to go around thinking that that is actually happening, and they're not going to recognize the real issues of human trafficking and child trafficking. It's just, it's so shitty of you.
When people go, where are these kids going? Why are they going missing? That's the excuse they give. So they set up fake charities. I've exposed one on this channel before. Just, charities that, we're accepting money to try to help get kids out of third world countries who are doing slave labor, who are abducted in America. It's all a ruse. It's all to get people to look in the opposite direction and say, oh, okay, kids are going missing, but this is where they're going. Nobody's talking about satanic rituals and this stuff. Now, I'll probably do a video talking about Halloween and what's behind it, the satanic, meaning behind it and what it really stands for. But I'll say something here, which I don't hear that many people say, but you have to really put it in perspective. This has only been going on for 100 years or so, give or take. Halloween in America. And a lot of other countries don't celebrate. It's a satanic holiday. Halloween is a satanic holiday. That's all there is to it. And I know people have been indoctrinated.
So it's not a satanic holiday. Well, I mean, it may be. I don't know Satanist holidays. Regardless of that, though, I mean, it was initially pagan, like not necessarily Satanist. Satanists, I'm guessing would have come into being like after Christianity, because I mean, Satan, shit like that. Celtic, Celtic. It was, or Celtic, I think maybe is how it's pronounced. I'm not sure. Celtic. Oh, okay, my bad. Of course I got that wrong. But I mean, Celtic would be pagan. That's paganism. So I mean, it's a pagan holiday. It's not Satanist. Regardless of whether or not Satanists have like a holiday on Halloween or anything like that, it's a pagan holiday. It's a pagan holiday that was overtaken by the Catholic Church and Christians and stuff. They moved All Saints Day to right around the time of the All Hallows Eve or whatever, Samhain, so that they could easily convert pagans into the religion. That's why it's even a holiday. So it's really kind of fucked up how he's blaming Satanists for the holiday when really it was the Christians that moved it to try to cover up Samhain. It's just weird.
With it, people love it. Okay, people love to dress up. They love the candy and all that stuff. The purpose behind it, not just behind the holiday and the worship of Satan, the purpose behind the trick or treating and all that stuff is pretty easy to figure out. They need to do child sacrifices and rituals on Halloween. How else would they get kids back 70 years ago? Okay, they were kidnapping and abducting children because kids were going around knocking on doors asking for candy. Kids were going missing. They were abducting them and using them for ritual sacrifice. Now, over time, how did they start getting their ritual sacrifices? Well, abortion.
Okay, he's about to get into his abortion rant. Demonetized. Anyways, so in the 70s or whatnot, there's I mean, make no mistake, children being abducted has been a societal issue for a long time, okay? But still, I haven't found any kind of data or information that would say that kids go missing at a higher rate on Halloween at any point in U.S. history. So, him saying that in the 70s they would abduct kids more is just not based on anything like in history or anything like that. Like, there's no substance behind any claim that he makes here concerning satanic rituals. We got a super chat from Vandalia 1998. He says, "What holiday will Christians claim next?" Vandalia? Fuck. I don't know. I mean, pretty much every holiday has been is like a Christian type holiday, isn't it? I mean, there's Columbus Day, but I mean that's kind of Christian.
Became a huge thing in America because the Satanists brainwashed everybody into thinking it wasn't, a murder or a sacrifice or any of those things. They said, oh, it's a woman's choice. They turned it into a feminist movement when it's actually the killing of a child. And they convinced the masses out there to go along with it, to stand up for women having the right to choose. And what it really is a sacrifice and a ritual. So as time progressed and people agreed with and what.
I don't know if you guys just caught on about what he's saying here. Abortion, Roe v. Wade, the basics of women's rights is a ruse so that these satanic cults around Halloween, I'm guessing, or I guess other times of the year as well, can perform satanic rituals using aborted fetuses. Fetusi. Apparently, to him, that is more rational than women wanting the ability to control what happens to their body. Basic bodily autonomy rights for women. Like, apparently, that is just the facade to him. And ritualistic sacrifices are the reality. Can you imagine yourself thinking that ritualistic sacrifices, are an actual possibility, more so than just a woman wanting the right to control her body? Like, imagine being that dumb.
Along with abortion, there wasn't as much of a need for them on Halloween to abduct kids because it was riskier to do it, right? Somebody grabbing a kid off the street, especially now with phones and the technology, is a little bit more risky for them.
Well, shit, what do you mean it's riskier? I mean, you got the New World Order out there that controls the police department, the teachers, and everything like that. I mean, basically, they could just come and get your kids whenever they fucking want to. So I don't know why they even got to try to hide it, because nobody will report on it, remember? Nobody will report on kids missing, so why do they even need to fucking hide it? What makes it even harder for them to abduct kids now when they just won't report on them? If you guys don't remember, he said that people just won't report on the kids going missing for the ritualistic sacrifices and shit because reasons, like SpongeBob meme.
But since they have the abortion ritual sacrifices, they use those for their satanic rituals during this period. But kids are still getting abducted. But the reason that it started, really, even though they'll tell you, oh, it was about candy, it was about they were trying to help out the candy business. There's all sorts of lies that float out there about it. You can read many different ones. The History Channel even has.
Fun fact, the best time of year for candy companies and everything is not Halloween. Did you know that, honey? Yeah. No. Yes. Easter. Easter is the best holiday for candy companies. That's when they make most of their money. So it's not for Halloween, but I mean, Halloween and Valentine's Day and all that kind of shit, I mean, all that helps, obviously, but just saying the best holiday for it is actually Easter. So I don't know how he feels about Easter. We'll have to figure that one out next April, I guess. But yeah, I mean, he honestly wants us to believe the conspiracy theory surrounding kids on Halloween, in lieu of the better, more plausible explanations. And I find that like jaw-dropping.
lies and propaganda out there about, oh, it started as a small thing in a small town and it spread in the West. And oh, now it's just a tradition for people. It's for kids to have fun and have candy and all this nonsense. The idea around it, think about it, was for them on a night where they do these satanic rituals, where they sacrifice and do pedophilia with children. Okay, on that specific night, the night that veils the thinnest, the night that is most important and sacred to the Satanists, that kids are running around knocking on doors at a time period where you probably weren't, it wasn't easy to abduct kids and you weren't getting abortion sacrifices. They had to have a way where they could go and grab children and perform ritual sacrifices.
I feel like he's equating abortion to like child sacrifice. Abortion is not like a fetus is not a child. Just putting that out there. So abortion sacrifices is not a thing. Of course, the child sacrifices, at least in this context, is not a thing. That's fucking ridiculous. I don't want to say that child sacrifices don't happen, because there are fucking crazy ass parts of the world where it probably does happen. But in this particular case, like modern day America, no, children are not being sacrificed to the Dark Lord. Nobody is doing these things, not even back in the 70s. You're making this shit up based on nothing other than the fact that you don't like Satanists and what you think about Satanists, even though it's wrong. It scares you into making up bullshit.
And abduct them and kidnap them. And if you go back, the statistics you'll find now are very much tainted. You won't hear stuff. They almost have made it like a myth. Like, oh, didn't kids used to get abducted in the 80s and the 70s on Halloween night? Wasn't that like the worst night for child abductions? You can't find stuff really on it anymore.
Well, you know why you can't find shit on it there, A Call for an Uprising? Because it never fucking happened. Like, kids were not abducted more on Halloween night. That's just not something that ever happened. You know what's also another myth, which I think is probably what you're thinking about, but you get some Mandela effect kind of thing going on here, is the idea of like razor blades and needles and all this other kind of shit getting, put into candies and everything like that. I remember that in the 90s. Like, my mom was like, let's dump all this shit out. Nope, no razor blades. But, I mean, that was always like a myth. That was an urban myth. Like, that never really ever happened. The only times that it actually happened was when a parent was trying to cover up, something that they were doing to their kid, or like the fact that they killed their kid, or they wanted to kill their kid or something like that. They would put like shit in the candy and stuff like that. So, yeah.
But growing up and, you hearing about it, you would hear about it all the time in small towns. A kid went missing. Now they don't even mention it on the news anymore. It's almost like, oh, nothing's happening on Halloween. It used to happen all the time. I don't know how frequent it is now, like I said, because they can get the ritual offerings through the abortions, so it's not as mandatory for them to go around picking up kids and using them for ritual sacrifices.
Like, this does not have... People don't cruise around neighborhoods and steal little kids to, like, perform these sacrifices. Look, like I said before, we have Amber Alerts. We have different processes in place because of the fact that kids do get kidnapped. Even though they're not kidnapped at a higher rate on Halloween, that shouldn't, degrade the importance of the fact that kids are still getting abducted. Like, it doesn't make their lives worth less or anything, but we have a lot of different things that have been developed that help us prevent those things from happening.
Now, keep in mind, a lot of the parents in the covens were offering up their children as sacrifice as well, but this was another means for them to do the abduction and the kidnapping. And that, to me, that's, the core and the reason behind the trick-or-treating, behind all of that stuff, to make it fun, to get the kids out there. It's a complete distraction.
I like how in this picture, he's got this one guy down there that's got his face painted like he just came from a football game or something. And he's looking so serious while he's doing this, whatever kind of fucking ritual they're doing. I'm not even sure. But he's holding his torch there and he's looking so serious, like, yep. I'm part of a secret society. Yep. Don't fuck with us. We'll steal your kid.
And then kids are going missing. In the 80s, it was unbelievable how many kids were getting abducted. Unbelievable. And the statistics, when you look back on it, they still try to make it like it's some type of urban legend. Like, oh, kids were getting abducted. They were getting abducted. They just won't report on it anymore. And they won't give you real statistics on it anymore. They alter the statistics. Just like they're altering the statistics now with, cops shooting black people and vice versa. They're upping how many people are dying all the stuff that's always been going on. They're just changing the statistics around. That's how they convince people and use mind control over them.
Casey asked, who is this ominous they that he's talking about? He's talking about the New World Order. He's talking about the Illuminati. He's talking about secret societies. He's talking about anybody that there's not really any kind of proof for that could possibly need to do a satanic ritual or two. That's pretty much what he's talking about. Vindictus the Bat did a super chat that says, does Call have citations for any of these claims? No, he doesn't. And I'm sorry, honey, what were you saying? Yes, honey, he is a fucking nutter butter. But I love how intricate his delusion is right here, because apparently this ominous they, the Illuminati, New World Order, whoever you want to say, is actively changing the statistics, even in history. They're changing the statistics to hide the fact that children are going missing, being abducted for these satanic rituals and everything like that. Yes, honey, they do own the internet. They own the school system. They own the government. They own and they control everything, but yet he's still able to put out these videos on YouTube. I would think that, yeah, and they don't stop him. That's right.
So again, this period starts October 13th and runs to the 31st. Just be strong in your prayer and in scriptures and read it and trust only in Jesus Christ, not in man, not in the media, not in politics, not in anything you hear going on out there, not in me.
All right, honestly, I can't take him seriously because he's like,
you only need to trust in Jesus Christ, okay? That's all you got to trust. Don't trust in man. Don't trust what people are saying.
It's like, motherfucker, you're saying shit right now. You're not Jesus. Are we not supposed to just totally disregard what you're saying? You're telling your own audience that to not listen to you and to only pray to Jesus. Yeah, I agree, honey. Don't listen to this fuck. We got Vindictus the Bat that sent a super chat saying, by the way, hello, have a bit of money. Thank you, Vindictus. I appreciate that. But still, this, I can't believe he's sitting there being like, you only got to suck Jesus dick. You suck Jesus dick, you'll be fine. Don't listen to what people say when they point and laugh because you're sucking Jesus dick out in public. Even though the Bible says you should do that shit in the closet, it's okay. You're going to be protected from the satanic rituals when they go and start abducting people just randomly off the streets. Nobody's going to start reporting it or anything like that. But obviously they're having to change the statistics and everywhere, even in the past, because they got to hide all their activities and stuff. But they can just abduct people right off the street, and they're not going to say anything on the news or nothing. There's not any Amber Alerts. The Amber Alerts are bullshit. They send out fake names to make you think that it's actually working. I can see that being like one of his excuses. Like, oh, you think Amber Alerts are a real thing? No, they put that in place to reassure you that they are indeed looking for these missing children. There's more missing children out there, and it's crazy. You know, there are so many things that we have done to try to ensure that kids don't get kidnapped. You know, kids still do get kidnapped. They still get taken and abducted. That's a very important issue, but it's so very disingenuous and irresponsible of you to put out this conspiracy that it's all about satanic rituals. I say it's irresponsible because this is the same kind of fuck that would put out like Pizzagate conspiracy theories and cause people to be so fucking concerned about kids being locked up in the basement of a pizzeria that they take their AK-47 or they take their assault rifle and they launch an assault on an innocent business that doesn't even have a fucking basement. That is the danger of a call for an uprising and everything that he's saying here. We got another super chat from Uhan Roderick that says, someone abducted this dude's brain. It's got to be the aliens. Or the Illuminati. Or the satanic cults. Oh, it's just they. Yeah, he used to watch our stuff, but not anymore.
Not another YouTuber. Trust only in Jesus Christ. Stay strong in prayer and in faith. Just keep an eye, on your pets and your kids, if you have kids or grandkids, because it's truth. I know people go, well, that's fear. You're fear mongering. And this is the reality of the matter. Okay, I'm not saying that a Hiroshima bomb is going to drop on us tomorrow. Be forewarned. But the truth of the matter is that child abduction is real and it's serious, and so is animal kidnapping, abduction, and sacrifice. This stuff really goes on. This is what the Satanists perform and practice. That is their offerings to Satan, who they worship. Okay? And this is the period where the veil is the thinnest, where they're performing lots and lots of spells against Christians, on the masses, on humanity. They're putting witchcraft and spells on. So it's important for us to stay strong in prayer and in scripture, and to pray every day for protection, to pray for others for protection, to fight off against the enemy, to pray to the Holy Spirit. So make sure.
Like, what like spells are they casting on Christians? Like, are they casting like spells on Christians to like make them just be horrible or something? Because I mean, why can't you just like do a Thanos snap kind of spell or something like that, and make them all disappear or something? I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't understand how you would know if they've done a spell or not. I mean, obviously you're not invited to the satanic rituals. They are not going to, invite you over there. So I don't know how you would know that they're doing these particular spells, or even like how you would know a spell's effect in reality. Like, I just don't understand how you would even determine whether or not you're right about this, other than the fact that you just assert that you're right. That's no way to go about things. That's no way to figure shit out. Oh, you're always right, honey? Oh, okay. Well, KC confirms she's always right. Yep.
Sure you're doing that, and you're just aware of these things, because these are significant dates to them in this battle that is spiritual warfare that's going on between us and them. That's what it's really about. And everybody else in the middle who doesn't have a clue what's going on is really getting led the other direction because of this spiritual warfare. We have to pray for them, pray for their protection as well, that they can see that Jesus Christ is the Christ, the Messiah, the way, the truth, and the life, and everything else that they've been led to believe are lies in this world.
I like how it always comes down to pushing the Christian message. I mean, it's almost like we don't live in a predominantly Christian like society. Like the population's predominantly Christian. It's almost like he thinks that nobody knows about his fucking Lord and Savior. I mean, I get that there are some Christians that watch my show, and I really hope that you guys don't think that I'm shitting on you about this, because I'm very obviously shitting on this guy and the fact that he thinks that we all just need Jesus. Like, that is such a pretentious fucking thing to say about anybody. I wouldn't say, oh, well, you just need... I would say, oh, you just need a brain, but he definitely does need a fucking brain. He's like goddamn Scarecrow over here. But I would say, like, I would never like tell a Christian that they need a brain or anything like that. Although a lot of Christians out there can be pretty dumbass and pretty much a dumbass about things, but that's not really about them being a Christian or anything like that. Yeah, they're just humans are dipshits, not a particular religion necessarily. But anyways, let me get back to the main screen here because that's all he's got. All right. That's going to be it for the show tonight. If you guys liked it, be sure to smash that like button on your way out, unless you're going to be staying for the Skeptic Mafia comments, which, if you guys didn't know, we have the member thing here. You can become part of the Skeptic Mafia by smashing that join link, and for as little as $1.99 a month, you too can become a shill. There's different levels. $1.99 is the lowest level, and you can get all the great emojis, which will soon have the whale dick emoji. I will figure it out. I promise. But anyways, if you're going to be leaving out Not Staying for the Skeptic Mafia comments, then I hope that you will smash that like button, subscribe if you're not already, and as always, stand up and use your voice. Maybe not a call for an uprising, but you definitely stand up, use your voice. Bye, heathens!